always happens, isn't it? Okay, welcome back. Welcome to everybody who's tuned in to us for the live interviews with wine producers from around Spain. This session we've got three fantastic producers from three completely different regions of Spain. We've got a producer from the Dio Bierzo and a producer from the Dio Ribera de Duero, and further south from the Dio Conca de Barberà in the Catalonia region. So I'm going to first introduce them all to you, and then we're going to each one will give a talk about what they're doing, citing wines they're making, and present a couple at the end of each session. So let's bring them all in. First of all, going to next to me, over there. High five. Can we do a virtual high five, maybe? And would you like to present yourself, Teresa? What's your name?
Hi, nice to meet you all. Thank you for watching. This is Teresa from Huellas del Tiétar winery.
Okay, and then down below, the lady.
Hello, I'm Mercedes Acilu from Bodegas Resalte in Ribera del Duero.
And finally, we have Danny. You need to switch your mic on. Okay, so down below me is...
I can introduce myself, sorry. My name is Daniel Santa Cruz. I am from Clos Montblanc winery from Conca de Barberà. Nice to meet you.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, we're going to start with Teresa, Dio Bierzo. No, sorry, I got it wrong.
Cebreros.
Wrong. DOP Cebreros.
Yes.
Sorry, you should have told me earlier. Garnachas, I believe you're right up Fernando Mora Street with producing wine from the Garnacha grape variety. And I believe the name of your winery is Huellas del Tiétar, which I believe is a river, name of a river. Yeah. Perhaps you could leave it to you. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your terroir and so on.
Yeah, so our winery is called Huellas del Tiétar, and we are located in the southern slope of Sierra de Gredos. We are like 100 kilometers west from Madrid, and we are in the province of Ávila in a village called Lanzaita. So most of our vineyards are in the southern slope of Gredos, but we also have some of them that they are on the northeast of Gredos. So our project started in 2013 when my father realized that most of the vineyards in this area were being grabbing up to sell out the right of plantation to other parts of Spain. And some of them were being abandoned because new generations didn't want to take care about them. So it was so sad to see how this natural heritage of these vineyards were being disappeared. We are talking about vineyards that have vines of 70 to 90 years old. So you can imagine it was so sad to see those vines being disappeared. So this is how we started. We started knowing the vineyards, recovering them, knowing each other. And so this is how we create Huellas del Tiétar winery. So the kind of vineyards that we are talking about, they are small vineyards that most of them, the majority, don't have more than half hectare of size. And all of them are dispersed, so all the slope of Gredos, so has like difficult access to them, okay? The soil is mostly sandy slope granitic and really poor in organic material, okay? So this plus the old vines, we have a really low yield, okay? So this allows us to elaborate really high quality wines. We are a winery that is focused on high quality wines. We elaborate single vineyard wines and village estate wines. So we have a really small production, like 12,000 bottles per year. So we are really small. And for us, we believe that the vineyard is where the wine is made. So we really care about how we work the vineyard. We work it organic. We don't use any herbicide or systemic, and everything is by hand because, as I told you before, they are all dispersed around the slope of Gredos, and have really difficult and tough access, and also the framework that they are planted, the vines, is really close to each other, so it's difficult to make it mechanical. So as we really take care about the vineyard, we also take a lot of care about all the elaboration process. So our vineyards are like from 500 meters above the sea level to 900 meters to the sea level, depending on the vineyard. So we harvest it depends on each year. As you know, this changes a lot every year, but we harvest since the final of August to the middle of October. So we harvest first time in the morning, and we harvest by plots or village estates. As we have a small, we can do it. We are able to do it. So when we harvest, we storage our grapes in a cold room at 5 degrees Celsius. So we can do a cold pre-fermentation to keep the colors and flavors of our grape. We really care also about the terroir, and we elaborate wines that talk about where they come from. Those vineyards are surrounded by fig trees, pines, citrus, oaks. So when you drink our wines, you are able to go to this place where they come from. They really talk about their terroir. So as I was saying, that we put it in this cold room, and next morning, we do a selection grape by grape in a selection table. So just the grapes that they are in the optimal maturation state goes into the deposits. Okay. So we really take care about this, okay? We just started. We decided going to the market with the vintage of 2018. We started last year, and it's because it's when we just feel it that we were ready and we were proud of what we were elaborating. So today I am going to present you two of our wines. Okay. I forgot to tell that we are under a protected designation of origin Cebreros, and we elaborate some of our wines are under this DO Cebreros, but another one they are not. That is the example of this wine that I'm going to present you today. That is called commissura. Commissura means labial commissure. It's the junction of the lips. It's this part of the lip, and if you can see, is like the shape of a leaf with a lips shape, okay? And we chose this name because we think that represents a lot this wine, okay? As I was saying, no, we don't elaborate all our wines under Cebreros DOP, okay? And this is why the origin of our project, that we started recovering those vineyards that were being abandoned or rubbing up. So actually our claim is we recovered yesterday vines for today's wines. So this was like an old vineyard, a really small plot. Actually, we just elaborate 700 bottles of this wine. And was a small plot of verdejo that was planted. So we decided to recover it and to take it. And we do a blended with 30% of other white varieties as Albillo Real, White Grenache, and Moscatel. in our village, it was so typical in the past to plant these white vines between the red ones to do something that they call claretes. Claretes is like a mix of white wine and red wine. So we take advantage of these white vines that they were planted between the red ones, and we blend it with the verdejo ones of this plot, and we do this comisura wine. This comisura wine is so special, and even if I tell you that it's 70% verdejo, you will never know if you are doing a blind tasting that we are talking about a verdejo. So it's so special. All our bottles are numbered. You can see a little bit more the label this way. And this is a young white wine, and this is the 2019 vintage, okay? So actually, yes, we can talk about the tasting notes, but I think that's something so personal. But I can say you that it's like fresh with citrus notes, really unctuous in mouth, long lasting. But I think the best thing you can do is to try. So this is for me so personal. As like, for example, the parent suggestions, but I can tell you my taste. For example, I love this wine with citrus flavors, with sushi, with seafood. But I mean, depends a lot of each person. So this is comisura. Then we have relatos. Relatos is a red wine with a 6 months aging in French oak barrels, 100% Grenache. This wine comes from vineyards that are 850 meters above the sea level. They are in El Barraco, in the northeast of Gredos, okay? So relatos means stories. So the picture, as you can see, is like a dragonfly with a pen in the middle. So we decide to call it like this because it talks a lot about where he comes from, about the terroir. For us, as I told before, it's really important this. So that's why we call it relatos. And it has a lot to tell you. Okay, this wine is under the Cebreros DOP. Okay, you can see more or less. And we just produced 2,640 bottles. I don't know if you can see always. And this is the label, as you can see. This is the 2018 vintage, and we decided to age this wine during 6 months in French oak barrels because we think that the French oak has a perfect blend with the Grenache fruit. Okay, and we decided to use a 500 liter because we don't want the wood to be the main character. We want the variety to be the main character of our wines. We think that something that has gredos, that is really special, is like each part is different. So they have like common things, but it depends a lot where the vineyard is located. So this is Relatos, our red wine, one of our red wines. So actually we are talking about markets. As I told you before, we started going to the market last year. So we are just so far in Spain, but we are really interested going abroad, overseas. So we will be really interested in any market outside of Spain. So this is Huellas del Tiétar. We have a website where you can check all of our wines, our history, the way we work. The website is in both languages, in English, Spanish. So you also can download all the files that from our wines, so you can check all the technical characteristics, see the winemaking and all these things. I forgot to tell you some tasting notes about Relatos, but as Anthony told us, that I think is the most important. I mean, this is something really personal, but I think it's the most important how it's made and where it comes from. But for example, for pairing suggestions, I love this wine with meats, with game dishes, traditional stews, for cheeses. So, but it depends a lot. But this is a wine that has a strawberry jam, has like some spicy notes in the retronasal way, has cocoas, the raspberry, the mulberry. I don't know. It's like we really like relatos. So I don't know if you have any question or you would like to ask me whatever you would like to know. I'm open to your questions, and that's all. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, there is a question. I think we'll keep it to the end.
Yeah.
What I have put on the chat,
Okay.
see on the right, I put a link to your page where anybody interested can contact you through the website. A simple form requesting a meeting. So if you're interested in Teresa's wines and any of the wines that are presented on the program, then you have this easy access to them to request a meeting. They'll get back to you and you can chat one-to-one and arrange to taste the wines one-to-one, perhaps. Somebody was saying about not being in Germany, or we'll ask about markets at the end. Okay, so thank you, Teresa.
Thank you so much for watching.
Let's go let's go east to Ribera del Duero and say hello to Mercedes.
Hello.
Mercedes, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you, Anthony, for the organization of the event, and also thank you to the attendees, to the audience. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, good. Let's just move us over there. Okay, so we're not blocking your face. Now, Mercedes, Bodegas Resalte, that's big bold reds. Would you say you're making from the region?
From Ribera del Duero. Yeah, so, well, I'm the export manager of Resalte, which is a winery located in the heart of Ribera del Duero. If you watched yesterday's seminar that Clara made, she talked about the region. I'm going to show you a map as well. She said that it was in 4 provinces, Segovia, Soria, Valladolid, and Burgos. Our winery is located here in Peñafiel, which is one of the towns that she mentioned. The winery is located in Peñafiel, but we have hectare vineyards in different parts of the Ribera del Duero. Especially, well, all of them are in the part of Burgos and Valladolid. And well, you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the region first. You know, Ribera is central Spain, so it is a region that is very isolated from the influence of the ocean. So we have a very continental weather. That means that our summers are very short, very warm, and very dry. And the winters are harsh. I mean, low temperatures. Usually we have frosts. Usually it doesn't snow, but we have a lot of fog. Even maybe more. It is more common during the morning, but there is a lot of fog because we are very close to the river. And this fog and the altitude, because we are between 700 and 800 meters high, that makes that the climate is more extreme. I mean, that makes that the temperatures in the winter are very low. In Ribera, we have 4 different types of soils. We have clay that makes the wines like with more muscle, with a lot of color, very tannic. We have sand that makes more elegant wines, like with high aromatics. We have limestones. The limestone offers a lot of nutrients to the grape. So the grapes, usually they are very sweet, the grapes that come from these limestone soils. And we have also rounded the stones that give minerality to the wine. But I will tell you a little bit more about the soils later when I explain the wines. Resalte. What's the meaning of resalte? Is something that stands out. It's something that it is like highlighted. The winery is located, I'm going to show you, it's located in Peñafiel, as I said. Peñafiel has one of the symbols of Ribera del Duero, which is this castle. I'm going to show you a picture of it. Here, this is the castle of Peñafiel. It is a very big castle from the 10th century. It is on top of a hill, so you can see it from everywhere. The castle stands out like our wines. So we played with that to decide the name of the winery. And also, if you can see the main tower, our logo is inspired in the main tower of the castle. Resalte is a family business. We started the production of wines in 2000. So this year is our 20th anniversary. We hope that we can celebrate later when everything passes. And we are like around medium size in the Ribera del Duero. We produce 300,000 bottles. We control 80 hectares of vineyards in, as I told you, in different parts of the region, but all of them in Burgos and Valladolid. And each vineyard has different characteristics, different altitudes, different soils, as I said before, different orientations to the sun, different ages. We have vineyards that are around 20 years old, very young vineyards. Others around 40, 50, and the oldest are more than 90 years old. What all these vineyards have in common is that all of them are Tempranillo grapes. You know, Tempranillo is the indigenous variety from our region. And we can use other grapes, but in Resalte, all of our wines are 100% Tempranillo. The Tempranillo in our region, as I told you before, we have a very continental weather, so it has to protect itself from the very, very hot temperatures and also the low temperatures during the winter. So it develops a very thick skin that makes the wines very tannic and with a big aging potential. Also, we have a lot of sun, even during the winter time. So the grapes have a lot of sugar, and usually the alcohol volume is more than 14 degrees. One of the things that makes Resalte different from other wineries is that we were one of the first producers in Ribera del Duero starting using the gravity systems. So the grape in our elaboration process, the grape flows through all the process using its own weight. We don't use pumps to pull that push the grapes very aggressively because we want to protect our raw material, and we think that the gravity system is the most respectful way to treat the grapes. During the whole year, our winemaker and his team, they control all the vineyards, and in the harvest time, we handpick the grapes, and then when they arrive to the winery, we make a second selection in our sorting table, and after that is when we release, the grapes fall in the ovis. You know, the ovis, these deposits that are moved with a crane, and then the crane moves and the ovi is on top of the tank, and the grapes are released in the tank. So this is how the gravity system works. I'm sure that most of you have seen somewhere. Yeah, and that's how we work. That was a little bit about the winery. We, as I told you, we are like medium size, 300,000 bottles. We export 80% of our production. We work in more than 20 countries. Our main markets in Europe are Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, We also sell in the US and in Mexico, in China, and we are interested in growing in the international markets. We are very interested in other European countries like Germany, like Netherlands, and we also want to grow in South America, in Brazil, Colombia, well, anywhere where we think that our wines would be appreciated. And yeah, I'm going to talk now about the wines. So this is the Resalte line. It is for wines. I'm going to talk about the Vendimia Seleccionada and Origen. So the first one is Vendimia Seleccionada. This one is the youngest from the Resalte line. The Vendimia Seleccionada means selected harvest. And it is a vino de altura. That means that comes from high vineyards. We pick these grapes from a mix of 3 different vineyards that are located in the plateaus, in the highest part of the Ribera del Duero, which is around 900 meters high. So this altitude gives a lot of freshness to the grape, and also it is a young vineyard. It's around 15, 20 years old, so the grapes are very fruity, very fresh. We want that the wine maintains all this freshness by using big barrels. So it's a wine that we age for 12 months, but we use big barrels of 500 liters. It is a new French oak. It gives a structure to the wine, but maintaining, as I said, all the freshness and all the fruit. So it is a wine that has a lot of violet, like flower aromas, red fruit, like cherry. It is very easy to drink, and it is a wine that you can enjoy in the good weather, even in a warm day. You know, the Tempranillo usually it is a very full body wine with a lot of tannins. It is sometimes it has a lot of a lot of body, and this one is like lighter. It's another style. It is modern. It is something special. And yeah, now we are selling the vintage 2017. The second one is Origen. This is the flagship of the winery. The name Origen, we chose it because it was the first wine that we made in the winery, and also because it is a mix of 6 different origins in Ribera del Duero. So we selected 6 different villages from different different vineyards from different soils, different altitudes, different orientations, and we vinify them separately. As I told you, I mean, each vineyard is vinified in a separate deposit, in a separate tank, because we want to have the best possible wine from each different part. And after that, we age it for 14 months. We use both French and American oak, but it is like 80% French oak, 20% American. And after the 14 months of aging, we make the final blend, and we bottle in like 3 or 4 months. This is 2015. It had very good international punctuation, 93 Wine Spectator, 93 Wine Enthusiast. It was rated in the top 100 seller selections of Wine Enthusiast. And now we are selling the 15 and also the 16. This wine is it has a lot of Ribera character. It has good body, the black fruit from the Tempranillo, the licorice that is very typical from the Tempranillo, and it is very, very well balanced. It has the acidity, it has the fruit, the tannins, and it is a very pleasant wine. And usually, talking about the pairing recommendations, the Vendimia Seleccionada is a wine that you can pair not only with meat, but also with some pasta dishes or lasagnas, even salads, some tapas. And the Origen It's a wine that it pairs perfectly with the typical dish from our region, which is the baby lamb. But you know, this type of meat that is very tender, very red meats, grilled meats, also sometimes wild meat with a mushroom sauce is a wine that is very good for this type of food. The other two, I mean, I'm just going to mention them. Expression. It comes from an older vineyard, just around 60 years old, a mix of vineyards, 18 months of barrel. And then we have the Gran Resalte, which will make a small production, just 3,000 bottles. And it's a single vineyard, almost 100 years old, and we aged it for 24 months in New French oak. And yeah, that was all about the wines. I don't know if there is any question.
Well, actually, lots of questions. It might be more effective if just go into the chat and you could quickly answer one or two of them, because they're very specific to your winery. So we can do that, and at the end, if we've got time, we'll have a few questions as well, and we may show the videos, because all three of you have sent in a video. Time permitting, we'll try and put them into this session. If not, they'll certainly be shown over the course of the whole event. So thank you, Mercedes. Let's have a look on the chat if you like, because there's several questions there. We're going to go down south now, southeast to Conca the Barberà wine region, where we have Danny, who we've visited many times with many wine importers over the years. Danny, I understand you have a peculiar region, kind of enclosed by mountains and away from the sea, and have a unique terroir at your disposal, and consequently have quite a range of still wines and cava. You're actually also making cava. Can you tell us a little bit about your wines that you're mostly interested in exporting, and a bit of the philosophy behind the wines?
Okay, can I make a small presentation about the winery? Thank you for listening, and I will explain you about our winery, Clos Montblanc. We are located in Catalonia, northeast of Spain, 1 hour drive from Barcelona and half an hour drive from Tarragona. And we are also half an hour from the Mediterranean coast. We are surrounded of mountains and nature. And we are in a region with a long winemaking history. First, the Romans brought its knowledge in winemaking 2,000 years ago along the Mediterranean. Later, 1,000 years ago, came the monks of the Cistercian route. They left a legacy of 3 monasteries around us. At that time, they were making wine in the monasteries. Initially, this was a region of white grapes varieties for cava and white wines. And later, the grape varieties for red wine were introduced. In fact, nowadays in our winery, we grow and produce many grape varieties due to the great performance of its terroir. Clos Montblanc origins are located between 2 farmhouses from the 18th century, Masia Les Comes and Mas Vidal, where we have part of our vineyards. Carbonell family are the owners of the winery, and the family tradition of the wine production started 300 years ago. So it's already the 5th generation. Our winemaker, Josep Padrí, has more than 30 years experience in Clos Montblanc. So nowadays, our winery has two separated facilities. One would be those farmhouses from the 18th century, and we have the new winery from 1988 near Montblanc village, only a 5 minutes drive. Regarding our terroir, we have the vineyards in 3 different territories. In total are 80 hectares. In Conca de Barberà, the soils consist of black slate stone. In Tarragona, soils are alluvial and with Miocene sediments. And Terra Alta, near Penedès, soils contain large deposits of clay. The climate is Mediterranean with a strong continental influence. And we have a significant day and night temperature fluctuation, which is good for the vine to relax, especially during summertime. The altitude, it goes from 362 to 750 meters above the sea level, and the rainfall intensity is 450 to 550 millimeters per year. We have 3 DOs, denomination Conca de Barberà, and then Catalunya and Cava. The harvest starts at the end of August with the Chardonnay and then the rest of the white wines. And at the end of October, we start with the red grape varieties. We collect manually for some grapes and others mechanically. And we use irrigation systems when necessary. Usually it is not necessary. Before the harvesting, our technical department collects samples to control sugars and acidities, and then we can harvest at the right moment since we own the equipment ourselves. We don't have to rent it. And this is very important because we need to harvest at the right moment. For the white varieties, we collect them at night to avoid any fermentation and oxidation during the transportation. And for the reds, we do it early morning because the weather in October is much better. We have a capacity of 3 million liters, but we don't produce that much. We have about 35 stainless steel tanks controlled remotely. And we have also 3 presses, 1 hydraulic and 2 pneumatic for the white wine. And then the production is around 600,000 bottles for red wines and white wines, and then 600,000 for Cava. We also have in our cellar about 1,000 barrels, French and American, and they are medium toast. The native grape in our region is called Trepat, and we will talk about later on. Trepat, well, it's a varietal with a very thin skin, pale color, few tannins that has some similarities to the Pinot Noir. We have in total 16 wines. 7 of them are single varietals, and then we have 7 cavas, and 5 of the wines are organic. The local varieties are Trepat, Parellada, Viura, Red and White Garnache, Tempranillo, Cariñena, Xarel and Monastrell, and the international grapes are Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Shiraz, and Sauvignon Blanc. Regarding the markets where we are working, 20% would be Spain, 30% in Europe, 25% in America in general, North America and South America, and then 25% in Asia. Then, if it's okay for you, I can talk about one of our wines. Well, I selected 2 wines. One is called Trepat. Well, here in the label, you can see a small, it's like a wall around the village of Montblanc, which is a medieval village. Clos Montblanc is on the top. Okay. This, as I was telling you, Trepat is a very unique and indigenous grape from Conca de Barberà. We have about 1.5 hectares, and it's an altitude of 400 meters. The total production is 4,000 bottles. The vines are 50 years old. The soils are clay loam. As I was telling you, it is organic. The harvest is late October. We collect manually. The fermentation takes place in stainless steel tanks, followed by aging in French and American oak barrels for 1 year. And then regarding tasting notes, I would say that the vivid color red recalls a garden of cherries. On the nose, it has notes of black pepper and hints of herbs. It is a wine that transmits a refreshing minerality, persistence, and has a satisfying finish. The alcohol content is around 13% approximately, and pairs really well with Japanese shabu shabu. And I'm saying that because in Japan it's quite popular, as well as meat soups, Italian pasta, rice with poultry or mushrooms, grilled vegetables like calzots, which is typical from our region. Also grilled red and white meats, and the consumption temperature is around 18 degrees. Okay, and here you can see the organic stand. And then regarding the next wine, which is Chipeya, is right, Chipeya. Chipeya is the dialect of a Catalan spoken in Conca de Barberà. It is also the name of the first wine produced by Clos Montblanc, and this is why it's so special for us. We produce about 20,000 bottles, 40% Carignan, 35% Shiraz, 25% Cabernet Sauvignon. The vines are 17 years old. They are on the vines are on black slate stone, and the farming practice is sustainable. It's made of Shiraz and well, I was telling you already that. Sorry, but the Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon, it's harvested mid-October, and Carignan are late October. The harvest method in this case, because the volume is bigger, is mechanical, and the grapes are fermented in stainless steel tanks at controlled temperature between 25 and 28 grades. After undergoing malolactic fermentation, the wine is aged in use and new barrels from 12 to 16 months. This wine has an intense color, powerful aroma of grapefruit, mineral notes with a touch of oak, round and voluminous on the palate with fine, well-integrated tannins, and it has a long and persistent finish. The alcohol rate is around 14.5, and residual sugar is 3.5. And well, I would pair this wine with stewed veggies, rice with hunting meat, grilled red meats, poultry, stews, roasted lamb, pork or beef, mushrooms, and cured and blue cheese. Consumption temperature should be around 20 degrees. This is it, and actually, in case you want to know more about all our wines, because we have a nice range, you can always check our website at closmontblanc.com. And thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you. So I'd invite everybody back. Let's just gone for a wine break. Danny, starting with you, as you just finished. So which markets are you particularly interested in exporting to? Do you have any key ones that are keen to develop?
Actually, I have a long list.
Well, just
but I would say that I would say that we are looking importers in Australia, New Zealand, China, Korea, Singapore. Well, in some countries in Asia, because we are mainly in China, we are mainly in Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So more or less the rest of countries are quite open. In Canada, it's quite difficult because we already are quite established. We are also in Colombia, Peru, Mexico, so the rest of countries in South America are totally open. In USA, we are working in some states, but we are not covering the whole country, of course. And then, well, I think, is that enough?
Yes, yeah, that's. I see that. Do you remember Tomohiro Sato is in the audience who visited the winery with us? He's put a message there for you. Might want to say hello. Teresa.
Thank you.
Teresa, what are your markets of? Well, you're actually not exporting. You said, didn't you?
Yeah,
So you're the jewel in the crown. Nobody's got you, and you're just waiting to get those wines.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we are just in Spain. As I said, we started last year. So we are open to any market. I mean, like Europe, wherever our wines would be appreciated. So we are open to those markets. So we are like babies of those.
Okay, and Mercedes, you have lots of questions about changing the labels and prices and so on. Do you have any markets left that you're looking to export to? Okay, your mic's off, I think. Can you put your microphone on? Micro. You switched.
Yeah.
There you go. You did hear the question.
So sorry. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, we are focused. We are looking for importers in Asia, like in Japan, in Korea, in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, China, and we are also interested in South America. And in the US, we are working already in some states, but we are also interested in the US. And we have Resalte, we have another line of wines, which is Leco. So that's why, I mean, we have different options in different countries, for different countries. And regarding, can I answer the questions now?
You could actually answer them on the chat. Let's take one because we wanted to, as all three of you have videos programmed, we may as well put them all three on now so that people can see the terroirs and so on. Pick one out for you. How many hectares do you have in Resalte? How many hectares are you cultivating? Don't think that got through. Okay, we'll come back. Let's start with Teresa Huellas del Tiétar. We did show it yesterday, so if you did miss it, we can watch again now. Very, very musical, I believe.
Very fresh, like.
There we go. Okay, voila. Right. I saw you using a rotavator there on the vineyard, not a tractor, which is
No,
caught my eye.
actually, because these grapes were coming from the northeast, from the Barraco of Gredos. So they were put in like from the banks to this big truck.
Right. No, so you should see a rotavator, because I've got one. I've got a very small vineyard, so surprised to see you had a rotavator, not a small tractor. Okay, well, seems fantastic. We'll have to visit sometime. This horrible disease is gone. Let's go now and have a look at Resalte. We actually saw Resalte just before we, at the end of Fernando's video, to see if we could spot any old vines. Here we go.
The voice. Anthony, we cannot hear you.
Well spotted, Danny. As I was saying to my room here, if Mercedes has working with old vines at all, making wines from old vines.
Yes, the Expression and Gran Resalte, they come from old vineyards, 60 years old, 90 years old. So very concentrated grapes, and yeah, very full-bodied wines. Mm-hmm.
Good. And you put that on the label, do you? Old vines on the label? The customer can see it.
Yeah, in the back label, you can see that this one has more than 100 years old. And in this one, well, we usually put a lot of information in Spanish and English with the type of vineyard, the elaboration process, the aging in the barrel. So here you can see that it's 60-year-old vines on a slope with very low yields.
Okay, let's go to Danny now and check out the Clos Montblanc. Here we go. Okay, that's fantastic music on that video. So our team here, our tech team, are saying brilliant music. So, thank you very much, everybody. I think, let me see, let's check there's no more questions coming in. We put on the chat if you want to book a meeting. Please do, you can do so through the website, just send them a request. I think somebody's requested during the program. Yeah, Mark says great video. So you can see all these again. These will be online. 10 or 15 minutes, you can watch this all again and forever and ever and ever. So thank you to Teresa from Huellas del Tiétar. Pronunciation is not very good there. Thank you to Mercedes from the Bodegas Resalte, and thank you, of course, to Danny, our friend Danny from Clos Montblanc in Conca de Barberà. Thank you, everybody, and thank you to the audience. And I hope some of the wine importers watching get in touch with these fantastic producers, and you start talking, and we see more of the wines and more around the world. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, again. Now, finally, so just to tell you, the next session is all about Cava, Spanish sparkling wine, the Dio Cava. So that's happening at 4:30, and at the top of your screen in this chat, there's a direct link to that. So please click on that. Join me again with two of my colleagues, and we'll be telling you all about Cava and why it's not a drink to be laughed at nowadays. So see you all soon. Bye for now.